What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Benchwarmers Breakdown, first episode. Today I'm going to be talking about why the NBA is losing so much viewership so fast. There are 3 reasons why the NBA is losing viewership: a different style of offensive play, a lack of defense, and competition with the NFL. Before I continue with this video, I want you to think back to the last time you watched an NBA game. It's probably been since the playoffs if you're a casual fan, and I don't blame you. The game's getting boring. Now you may be wondering, why is the game so boring now? It used to be so fun like 3 years ago. Well, it looks like no one's trying anymore because no one plays defense. It's the sad truth. And the offensive play style is also awful. I mean, you watch a game, most of the shots you see are just bullshit threes shot from like the logo. Like, that's just not a fun play style to watch. Now, you have the occasional really fun highlights like the John Morant and Anthony Edwards posters and the Victor Wembanyama blocks, but the style of play really affects how viewers like the game. Like, people like Nikola Jokic, SGA, and Luka Doncic, those guys play really slow. And for guys like me, I love watching them play. But for the casual NBA fan, they're not as fun to watch. Now, guys like Darius Garland, John Morant, and Anthony Edwards, those are guys that are fun to watch. The NBA should market them more to draw viewership. Because of the lack of competitiveness in the NBA, most former NBA fans are becoming fans of college basketball. And I don't really blame them. College basketball is really fun to watch. The games are super competitive, the defense is super good, and there's upsets all the time. Another thing that kind of kills the viewership is the lack of highly touted matchups. In college basketball, if you hear Duke versus Kentucky, you're excited because that's a rivalry of 2 blue bloods. In the NBA, you hear Celtics Thunder. It's going to be a good game, but no one really gets too excited for that. Why is that? Now, it's because they don't play enough, in my opinion, because one team's a Western Conference team, one team's an Eastern Conference team. I like the idea that the NBA has implemented of the in-season tournament because that now you have really good teams playing each other. But when you have like games like the other day where it's the Jazz versus the Pelicans, 2 teams that suck this year. I had high hopes for the Pelicans, by the way, but they have not panned out. No one's going to watch that. Even though it was a 25-point comeback win in overtime where CJ McCollum had 45 points and DeJounte Murray had like a 26-point triple-double. I mean, no one's going to know that because they don't watch the game. Going back to what I said about the play style of the NBA, on the offensive side of the ball, 3-point shooting is not a bad thing. A lot of people love to see people shoot it from deep. Now, if it's on back-to-back possessions, like it is every single game, it gets a little bit boring and repetitive. Back in like 2015, you'd have like a mixture of it. I mean, the 3-point has progressed so much, don't get me wrong, but it progressed too much. The art of the mid-range is dead, and only a couple guys do it, like DeMar DeRozan and Brandon Ingram. No one ever goes for those mid-range shots anymore. It's all about threes and dunks. It's a much more statistical game, which sucks for the casual viewer to watch. Statistically speaking, the game is the highest scoring it's ever been, and it's probably going to keep going up. A lot of people are averaging 25 or more points per game, including a 7'4" demigod who's shooting threes left and right from 30 feet. Victor Wembanyama's shot chart, his average shot is 20 feet away from the basket. He's 7'4". Why is he playing so far away? That's just how the game is. He's super versatile. He can do that. And then we got guys like Nikola Jokic, who play the game really slow. He's going to win the MVP, though, because he is doing stuff that I have never seen before, averaging like a 30-point triple-double. Are you serious? He leads the NBA in like every single advanced metric. It's crazy. SGA would be an MVP almost any other year with the season he's having, but Nikola Jokic is just that good. It's not going to matter. Nikola Jokic realistically should have won 4 MVPs in a row. I know. I think he should have won over Embiid the other year, but he didn't. A problem with the viewership also is no one realizes that the Cavs and the Thunder are both on pace for like 70 wins in the same season. That is ridiculous to think about. Two separate teams. And the Cavs are arguably not even the best team in the Eastern Conference. It's crazy. And I could see the Thunder losing first, or not first round, but later in the playoffs to Denver. So if the NBA is as talented as it is right now, which it's probably the most talented it has ever been. I mean, you have an all-star caliber. Let me rephrase it. You have an all-star caliber player on almost every team in the NBA. Every team in the NBA has a star. Every team in the NBA has a star. And it's not like, oh, it's just their best player. No, they have a full-fledged star. Any team. I'm not saying that I hate the three-point line either. I just want to put that out there. I think that the NBA is very entertaining right now. However, it could be a lot more entertaining if people would play defense. I understand it's a lot harder to guard nowadays with all the rules and all the foul baiting that goes on. That's another problem. There are so many free throws shot per game. It slows the tempo of the game down so much. Nobody wants to watch free throws throughout the whole game. What I think the NBA could do is a 2-for-1, where someone shoots one free throw and it counts for 2 points if it's a two-pointer, and if you get fouled on a three-pointer, you get 2 shots that count for 3 points. Now, how that would work, I'm not sure. Maybe the first shot's worth 2, the second one's worth 1. But that would speed up the pace of play a lot. The NBA also has to compete a lot with the NFL for a big chunk of its season, not the later portion, but the early portion. NFL regular season games are a lot more important than NBA regular season games because the NBA plays so many games and the NFL doesn't. So let's answer the problem. How can the NBA get more viewership? It's pretty simple, really. You just got to market your stars even more. Market the people that everyone would like Anthony Edwards. The guy's got a great personality, a very fun play style. Who doesn't like Anthony Edwards? Unless you hate the Timberwolves, you like Anthony Edwards. He's probably the most well-liked player in the NBA from a fan standpoint because his personality is so good. He'll crack jokes. He'll cuss on camera. He doesn't care. He's authentic, and that's what people want to see. And in games, he plays with a fire. He plays with passion. That's why the Timberwolves are fun to watch. That's why they're really good, because Anthony Edwards is that anchor. Now, if you shift it over to another young star in Victor Wembanyama, yes, they market him a lot, but I like Wemby a lot. I don't think he has as good of a personality as Anthony Edwards, which, to be fair, no one has a better personality than Anthony Edwards in the NBA, in my opinion. But, I mean, Wemby's a great player. Wemby is on track to do things we've never seen before. I mean, he gets 5 blocks every other game. I mean, he'll have a quadruple double by the end of the season. I think that's definitely going to happen. Last season, he had a game where he had 19, 12, and then 8 assists and 9 blocks. That's the closest I've ever seen anyone get to a triple-double. He has 2 5x5s in his career in 2 seasons. You don't see 5x5s very often. I don't even know if they've happened a double-digit amount of times in the 20th or 21st century. They're really rare. And to have a guy like Wemby do it all the time, you better market that because it's super rare. The NBA also should put more emphasis and more incentives on regular season games because the play-in, it's good in some ways, but it's also bad because now if you're an 8, 9, 10 seed, 7, 8, 9, 10 seed, you can still make the playoffs. Whereas before it was only the 8 teams, only the 8 teams could make the playoffs before. So you tried harder, but now expanding the field a lot, teams don't have to try as hard in the regular season. As long as they're a top 10 team, You saw the Lakers do this. I'm a Laker fan. I saw them do this a while ago, where they made the playoffs through the play-in and won in the first round, but they shouldn't have even been there. I think the play-in's pretty entertaining, but I think only one team should make it. I think there should be 7 seeds, 6 for conference, or not conference, 6 best record in the conference, and then 1 from the 4 play-in teams. You got these 2 teams versus these 2 teams, and they play each other. The winner of those 2 games play, and that team gets to the playoffs. And the first seed gets a first round bye week. I think that's a pretty good idea, and I think that'd be very entertaining because when the season's on the line, players play a lot harder. That's going to wrap up the first episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to be dropping these more often. See ya.